The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 6 hours before Alpha Kalerex made the decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. His strike cruiser, the Vorkai's Fong, was pinned down in the Theshan corridor, 2 enemy dreadnoughts blocking every exit vector, jamming all long-range communications except the emergency band. His 6 cubs, ranging from 4 to 11 cycles old, were aboard the damaged shuttle Ember, drifting toward the neutral station at Outpost Varan 9. The only soldiers already at Varan 9 were humans. Kalerex had never spoken to a human for more than 30 seconds. His species, the Vorkai, massive, ridge-backed predators standing 3 meters at the shoulder with retractable claws that could shear through hull plating, considered humans to be peculiar little creatures. Soft. Quick to laugh. Confusingly emotional about things that had no bearing on survival. But the Ember was going down, and the only ones answering the distress call were Captain Mara Ellison and her 12-soldier squad. "I am Alpha Kalerex of the 7th Vorkai Warband," he growled into the channel, his translator barely keeping pace with the guttural clicks of his native tongue. "My cubs are on that shuttle. I cannot reach them." "You can." A pause. Then a voice of female, calm, carrying the particular flatness of someone who had already made up their mind, Captain Mara Ellison, 14th Frontier Rangers. "We're moving now." "What are their names?" He blinked. "Their names? So I can call to them when we board." Scared kids respond better to their names. Kalerex stared at the comm unit for a full second. Then he gave her 6 names: Wrinkle, Dessa, Torvu, Fen, Mira, Kaleminer, and went back to trying to kill the ships that were keeping him from his children. The Ember had taken a pressure hit on its portside hull. One of the emergency bulkheads had sealed, splitting the 6 cubs into 2 groups, the 3 eldest in the main cabin, the 3 youngest, including 4-cycle-old Mira and Kaleminer, trapped in the cargo hold with dropping oxygen. Sergeant Joe was the first one through the airlock. Joe was a broad-shouldered woman with close-cropped hair and a reputation for breaking atmosphere doors with her bare hands when the situation called for it. She had the door to the cargo hold open in 40 seconds using a pneumatic spreader and nothing but muscle when the spreader jammed. Wrinkle. Dessa. Torvu. She was calling names before the smoke had cleared. Fun. Mira. Kaleminer. "Anybody hear me?" A small shape launched itself at her from behind a storage crate. Torvu, age 7, all ridge plates in terror, slamming into Joe's chest with enough force to crack a rib in a smaller person. Joe caught him, wrapped both arms around a creature that weighed as much as a juvenile bear, and held on. "I gotcha," she said. "I gotcha, buddy. Joe's got you." In the cargo hold, Private Dye found the 3 youngest piled under an emergency thermal blanket. Wrinkle, the eldest at 11, wrapped around the other 2 like a living shield, breathing carefully to conserve oxygen. Dye, the squad's youngest soldier at 22, crouched down to eye level with them and pulled off his oxygen mask without hesitation, fitting it over Myra's snout. "Your dad sent us," he said, his voice steady even as his lungs started to burn. "We're getting you home." Corporal High kept the structural breach from widening with 2 emergency patch kits and her own body weight braced against a buckling wall panel for 11 minutes while Captain Ellison coordinated the evacuation. The squad's combat medic, worked on Dessa's dislocated shoulder with the calm efficiency of someone who had treated wounds in far worse conditions, though he later admitted he had never treated a patient whose pain response was to accidentally embed a claw 6 centimeters into the nearest wall. "Don't apologize," Wood told the young Vorkai firmly, examining the wall with professional curiosity. "That's a good stress response. Means your nervous system's working." Dessa stared at him. "You are a very strange creature." "So I've been told," said Wood cheerfully, and went back to her shoulder. They had the cubs aboard the ranger station within 40 minutes. Ellison filed the after-action report, treated her squad for 2 cracked ribs, 1 minor laceration, and Dye's oxygen deprivation headache, and then sat down with 6 juvenile Vorkai who were too wired on adrenaline to sleep. She played cards with them. She did not know if Vorkai had cards, but she taught them a simple game with the battered deck she kept in her kit, and Wrinkle, serious, methodical, already watching everything with his father's eyes, beat her 3 times in a row and seemed to find this deeply satisfying. "Your people are strange," Wrinkle told her. "We get that a lot," said Ellison. "You walked into smoke to find us. You did not know if we were alive." "Nope. That is, not a logical strategy." Ellison looked at him for a moment. "Your dad left you with strangers because it was the only option he had. That's not logical either. It's something else." Wrinkle was quiet for a long time after that. It took Caelrex 31 hours to destroy both dreadnoughts, link up with a friendly cruiser, and fight his way back to Varan 9. When the Vorkai warship docked, he came through the airlock at speed, 7 feet of armored predator moving like something that had never once in its life been uncertain about what it was going to do next. He stopped dead in the corridor. His 6 cubs were standing in a line. Not cowering. Not scattered. Not even sitting down. They were standing in a formation, heels together, shoulders back, chins level, a posture Caelrex recognized immediately because it was the same one worn by the 12 humans standing at parade rest behind them. Captain Ellison was at the end of the line, hands clasped behind her back, watching him with an expression that might have been amusement. Wrinkle stepped forward. He had clearly been designated as spokesperson by some negotiation process Caelrex could only imagine. The boy's ridge plates were fully raised, the Vorkai equivalent of standing tall. "We are uninjured," Wrinkle reported, in the clipped, formal tone of someone who had spent 31 hours absorbing military vocabulary by osmosis. Private Dye gave his oxygen to Mira. Corporal High held the hull breach. Sergeant Joe pulled Torvu from the smoke. Medic Wa fixed Dess's shoulder. Captain Ellison organized the evacuation. He paused. "They came when you called, Father. They did not leave any of us behind." Caelrex looked at the line of small Vorkai standing at attention. He looked at the 12 humans behind them, all of whom were maintaining expressions of absolute professional dignity except for Joe, who appeared to be fighting a smile. He looked at Captain Ellison. There was a long silence of the kind that tends to occur when a 3-meter apex predator is processing an emotion it does not have a convenient word for. Then Alpha Caelrex of the 7th Vorkai Warband lowered himself, slowly, deliberately, with the weight of ceremony, onto one knee before a human officer. It was the Vorkai gesture of debt acknowledged. The kind given to those who had done something that could not be repaid in any ordinary currency. "Captain Ellison," he said. "Alpha Caelrex," she said. "Name your price." Ellison looked at him for a moment. Then she looked at the 12 soldiers of the 14th Frontier Rangers, at Joe and Dye and High and Wa and the rest, all of them a little smoke-stained, a little tired, all of them standing easy in the way of people who had done a hard thing and come out the other side of it. "Buy my squad dinner," she said. "Something good. I hear Vorkai know a place." He stared at her. "Captain. Your kids are fine, Alpha. Your debt is a dinner." She smiled slightly. "That's how we do it." Behind her, Wrinkle turned to Dessa with the expression of someone filing away a critical piece of intelligence. "I told you," he said quietly. "Strange." "Incredibly strange," Dessa agreed, flexing her newly set shoulder. "I want to learn more of their card games," said Torvu. And in the corridor of Outpost Varan 9, with 6 Vorkai cubs still standing at parade rest and 12 humans finally breaking into grins, Alpha Caelrex laughed, a sound like boulders down a mountain, for the first time in 31 hours. Some debts cannot be paid. Some can only be honored. The 7th Vorkai Warband flew under a new secondary sigil after Varan 9, a small thing, almost invisible on the warship's hull, placed below the great claw mark of the Alpha's lineage. 12 human stick figures, standing at parade rest. They were never explained to visitors. They didn't need to be.